All right, you join me inside the cabin of the 2021 Acura TLX. And the first thing to know about this all-new TLX is that it's not like the old one, like at all. Because the old TLX wanted to keep the good vibes going of the TL Sedan introduced in 2008, a car that really woke the luxury car world up to Acura, had them saying, geez, you guys can really build a sports sedan. But then the TLX that followed just sort of dropped the ball. So now Acura wants the all-new TLX to be the embodiment of their precision-crafted performance mantra. To do that, they're giving it genuine sports car engineering and really nice luxury details throughout. We'll go over all of that in this review. That's today on Miles Per Hour. And there it is, the 2021 Acura TLX in A-Spec trim with the Apex blue pearl paint job that I think looks fantastic. I think it's the best paint color for this car. One of the best paint colors on the market. Deep, rich color, sparkling metallic on the paint surface. That's a win. It's very much worth the $500 that they're going to charge you extra for it. Now, before we get too deep into the review, let's talk about the channel for a second and how you should subscribe so you get access to the daily car content I've got for you. The walkarounds, the POV day drives, the POV night drives, the live Q&As, and the reviews like this one. You don't want to miss out, so hit subscribe, hit that bell to get notified, and enjoy. And if you like what we're doing, you want to support us, we really appreciate it. A couple different ways you can do that. I've got Miles Per Hour t-shirts, stickers. We have those too, and stickers. And other Miles Per Hour merchandise. And then I've got a Patreon account. If you want to become a patron, get some different perks at different tier levels and support the channel. All right, with all that out of the way, let's dive right back in to this TLX. So drawing a bunch of design inspiration from that Type S concept we saw, what was it, about a year ago, maybe a year and a half? Beautiful concept. Got everyone excited about the future of the Acura brand. And here we have the first fruits of that. I think it looks, in general, very, very good. Handsome, if you will. So up here at the front, we've got that diamond pentagon grille from Acura. And it looks, I don't know, to me like bursting particles. It's so rad. Very cool design. And because we've got the A-Spec package, the border is in black gloss. You're going to see black gloss a few different places. I'll point them out. And then we've got these matte gray diamonds within the diamond pentagon grille. We also have, inescapably, this clear plastic panel that houses some of the active safety, active driving aids. And I've seen it on a couple cars now, most notably the Genesis G70 that this is competing against, and I just don't like it. I can't not see it. When you look and you see that in any sort of lighting, you're not going to be able to look away. So I think they can integrate that better. But the grille design itself looks really good. And down here, we've got a front air dam and a dead bug. Of course, as before, dead bugs not included. Over here, some very fake vents. And this bothers me, especially when you look at that Type S concept with the real venting, and then you get it here, and that looks like they barely even tried. That is so fake. LED fog lights down there, though, part of the A-Spec pack. The gloss black borders here to the fake vent. Up here, really cool LED daytime running light signature. They call this the chicane design. You're going to see it again on the taillights, and they borrow that from their DPI race car. Just love it. Looks like a lightning bolt check mark. And then LED headlights are standard. Lots of creases on this car. So flowing out from the diamond pentagon grille, I love the centeredness of that Acura logo flowing into that first crease right down the center, then one shooting off of each corner of the diamond pentagon grille. Love me some symmetry. Nice styling cues there. And even though on the Type S concept, this black gloss piece flowed up and in towards the headlight. They kept the crease, and I suppose that's the point of a concept. What works, what doesn't. The crease worked, and so they kept that there. It's a nice signature. Moving to the side, as standard on the new TLX, you're going to get a set of 18-inch wheels wrapped in two 35-section tires, but the A-Spec model gets 19 inches, and those wrapped in two 55-section tires, and the wheels just don't do it for me. I have no emotional attachment to these wheels. They look a little budget, and that bums me out. The glossed gray finish looks good, but the designs of the wheels are just like, I mean, look at it on the profile of the car. It's just like ho-hum. They look, if they were smaller, like they would be the wheels with different hubcaps, but alas, these are the designs for the A-Spec. I would switch those out personally. A-Spec badging here on the front quarter panel. You've got a black gloss upper piece and then body color matching lower extension. You can see a cut into the body down here, and then this character line runs right from this front wheel arch all the way up through these two sections of door handles, front door handles, rear door handles. I like that they bisect that. They're not above or below. I've seen, I think, above on some Mercedes-Benz vehicles, and it draws the eye in not a good way. Runs through towards the back of the car, kind of disappears here in the rear three-quarter, and then this one picks it up to take it to the back. So the Type S concept had a much more coupe-like profile. This one, they had to bring back the practicality, the usefulness. So they had to raise the roof. Sorry, that was terrible. That was like an instinct in me. Why is that an instinct? I don't know. They had to raise the roof for the rear passenger headroom, and the profile suffers a little bit, but is still a handsome silhouette nonetheless. Now working our way to the back, we're gonna see those chicane design taillight signatures once again. Let's drop down for the rear three-quarter. Good look here. It looks wide, and indeed it is. So dimensionally, the car is 3.7 inches longer at the wheelbase. It is 2.2 inches wider, and we're gonna see when we get to the back just how wide it looks. And it's half an inch lower than the previous generation TLX. Moving to the back, this A-Spec model is going to get that lip spoiler. It's shared with the Type S car, and it's a nice spoiler. It doesn't look dinky at all. It's not too much, but it looks sporty, and black gloss keeps it on the subtler side. Now we can look at these tail lights. So your turn signals are going to be in here, and then the light signatures running along the bottom and then cutting up and in with that lightning bolt check mark, just like those LED daytime running lights. A-Spec badging down here, and then for A-Spec models, you got more of the black gloss trim, and it even goes up into the license plate housing area, and then these chrome exhaust finishers. They are connected to genuine tailpipes, but much smaller and inside there. So let's look at the back again, because I just want to show how it emphasizes the width. This particularly, this piece right here beneath the fuel door, which by the way, capless fuel filling. Why doesn't every car have that? It's so useful. So this panel right here flows into this tail light, but it just lowers and widens the look of the car. It looks so wide. How they accomplish that with the design that's spot on. Nicely done, Acura designers. Really emphasize that width. Indeed, it is, 2.2 inches wider, and wider at the tracks, which is going to lend itself to better performance. But not to get ahead of ourselves from a design standpoint, that's a good look. Also, that black gloss trim, or in this case, sort of metallic. and metallic look to the trim, window trim. Thought it was black gloss, I'm wrong. That's on the A-Spec model as well. Okay, so just summarize here on the new TLX's design. It's a big improvement over the last generation. The front and rear looks are my favorite. The profile looks a little more pedestrian to me, a little more standard compact to mid-size sports sedan. Not as exciting, but that front and rear, they nail it. And that's what you're primarily gonna see if you're looking in your rear view, or in most cases, if you've got your foot on the gas, if they're just gonna be looking in their front view, in their windshield, they're only gonna see your, because you're on, do you get what I'm saying here? You're on the gas and then they can't keep up, so they're looking at your taillights. Oh gosh, it's bad if you have to explain it. Okay, let's look at the interior, okay? All right, on our way in, we can note we've got smart key access as standard on the TLX. So you leave the key in your pocket, just pull on the handle to unlock. To lock it, put your finger on these ridges. Opening up and looking inside. This is, once again, the A-Spec trim. So add base, then you've got tech, then A-Spec, and then advanced above that. So advanced is still higher than this A-Spec in terms of your equipment, but you do, on the A-Spec model, get these Milano leather seats with suede inserts. As standard on the car, you are going to get 12-way power adjustable heated front seats, but they are going to be trimmed in leatherette. You do have genuine leather here with black piping on the borders and black contrast stitching. The seats are perforated. And in addition to the heating, you do have ventilation on the A-Spec model. More of the black piping on the headrest, squishy headrest to sink your head into. Very comfortable seats. Looking at the door panels, you can see some of the red leather on this armrest here that flows all the way up to the grab handle. Contrast stitching there. And then above that, just above that in the door, we have the leatherette material. You can really feel the difference. More plasticky feel to that. Genuine leather just below. And then injection molding here. Doesn't feel like the worst injection molding I've ever felt. That's good. Genuine aluminum trim on the advanced, or sorry, tech, A-Spec, and advanced models. And if you look close, see it's got a neat little design detail. And then because we're in the shade, we can also see some of the ambient lighting. So on the tech and above, I believe, or maybe it's just A-Spec and above, you have 27 color ambient lights set in that mood inside the car. Aluminum door handle, feels high quality. 2-position memory seats. The ELS Studio 3D sound system, 17 speakers, is not standard equipment. That comes in at the tech package. Really nice sound system. This material in here is some cheaper plastic. Got auto up down for all 4 windows. One touch for all 4 windows. And then your mirror adjustments, no power folding door mirrors, but they are heated. And then some scratchier, harder plastics down here. Good sized door pockets. And then your trunk release button, you hold that for a sec. The trunk will swing all the way up. Hate it when it just kicks up just an inch or two. This one levitates all the way. Let's look at that trunk. We have 13.5 cubic feet of space, which is more than you're gonna get in the G70 and the Audi A4, but less than you'll find in the BMW 3 Series. Very usable space back here. Not really steep indents. It narrows there, just at the wheel wells, but you still have this deep cutout here and on this side, so you can fit wider items, maybe some golf clubs. Under here, you're not gonna find much in a way of storage. You have that tiny cubby there, and then a run flat kit, inflation kit. No full-size spare tire. No spare tire, period. To fold those seats down, you can pull on these handles here, 1 and 2. And that's going to expand your versatility significantly. These fold all the way flat, which is nice. Giving you a nice size shelf to store items, and depth for long, shorter pieces of equipment. All right, so let's lift these back up. Close this down. No power close for the trunk on this A-Spec model. And let's hop into this interior. Close the door. Good solid sound. You can see on the steering wheel, we've got perforation at 9 3, and then a leather border throughout. This A-Spec model has got a flat bottom, and that feels like aluminum trim, maybe plastic, I'm not sure. A-Spec badge down there. This is all going to be plastic, injection molded, and then plastic. But a good size wheel, it's not oversized, it's not undersized, and the flat bottom means it's going to clear your knees when you're turning it. Here on the steering wheel itself, we've got some controls for that 7-inch TFT display there. Let's fire on the car. Actually, I want to turn it off and turn it on so you can see the graphics that we're going to get. So we're turning it off. Cool music, cool graphics. Turn it on. No music, just cool graphics. So yeah, these controls over here, you're going to see your cruise control set, your distance control, lane keeping assist on and off. Those are all going to be standard as part of Acura Watch. You're also going to get blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic on the tech and above cars. Paddle shifters, those are only going to be on the A-Spec model, and they are genuine aluminum. You've got your wiper controls off to the right. On the left, these are going to be controls for your media. Turn signal and lights. Then over here to the left, we have some of your active safety features that you can turn on and off. Traction control button, parking sensors, those are standard. And then your e-brake is down here, you just pull up. You push down. You definitely push down. You don't pull up. You pull up to release. There we go. All right, so on this display here, we're gonna note that we've got an analog speedo and tachometer. Interesting that they put the km per hour on the center and the speed on the outside, knowing I suppose that you couldn't change that. You can change the units in here where they can show a digital speedometer, but for your analog displays, the km per h is on the center. And these have a silvery backing to them with the red LED border. This 7-inch TFT display is pretty standard. You can see the power delivery of your super handling all-wheel drive system if you have that equipped. We have it equipped on this car. Tire pressure, maintenance, navigation, current speed, telemetry data, your safety settings, and driver attention level, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so that's on your TFT display. Moving back, no head-up display on this car. On the advanced model, you do get a head-up display. You do get dual zone climate control as standard. And on the tech model, you're gonna get this wireless smartphone charging pad, squishy armrest here to control the trackpad. So this is Acura's true touch infotainment system, and it's a bit finicky. It takes some getting used to. So it's designed to behave kind of like a computer trackpad with some smartphone-like touch inputs, so you can like swipe and things like that. You can't pinch and zoom on this, which I thought was interesting. So for example, when you're on the navigation, no pinch and zoom. You have to go over to the plus minus buttons. And what's interesting about this trackpad is when you slide over to a position, it doesn't stay there. It goes right back to a center position. So let's go to home. I'll show you what I mean. So let's go wide zoom, see if you can see both at the same time. Oh, they're pretty far apart, hard to see. But okay, so I can swipe over and I'll get between the menus. But if I'm on these icons, if I let my finger go, it disappears. So it just takes some getting used to figure out where you want to go. This is the 4th generation now of this system, so it's faster and it's a bit more intuitive. You do have a split on the display. So on the left, you're gonna have your main infotainment, so 10.2-inch display total, by the way. And on the right-hand side, you're gonna have an additional display that you can swipe through, some other information, and then you can even have this display take over what's there. So if I was to click on that, then that would bring over the navigation to there. Click away, and the navigation is gonna become there, a side screen once again. So you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. They are not wireless systems like the latest that we're finding in some of the German automakers. They're just gonna be a plug-in. You do have a Wi-Fi hotspot though. That's pretty nice. Navigation is standard. Yeah, like I said, it takes some getting used to, but when you get used to it, you can figure it out. You have a good sized volume knob here, and they brought it, compared to the previous TLX, they brought it closer to the trackpad because that's kind of just where your hand's gonna be, so that's much easier. Seat controls, those are physical. The smattering of buttons that they have, I find, are useful, and it doesn't clutter up the display too much. So this dashboard could be cluttered with buttons, or it could be ultra futuristic minimalist and not have any buttons and be frustrating to use like some systems. This strikes a nice balance. So here is your gear selector display, borrowed from the NSX, where we first saw it in 2017. This is your drive button, press it to drive. Park is also a button. Reverse is a pullback on this tab. When you do that, you'll see you've got a few different views here that you can select with the trackpad. Overhead back, direct back, wide back. That one, I don't know what it does. Not sure what that one does. All right, and then going back, park. Moving up, we're gonna get to our drive mode selector. This is again pulled out of the NSX, and even though it takes up some real estate here, I think it looks and kind of feels really cool to crank through all these different drive modes. It's just a fun feedback thing. So, as standard on the TLX, you're gonna get 3 modes. Comfort with the blue graphics, normal with the gray graphics, and sport with the red-orange graphics. Then on the A-Spec trims, you're also gonna get an individual mode you access by pressing the A of the Acura logo. That's gonna bring up some presets for your powertrain response, your steering feel, and your suspension damping, along with your start-stop system and your lighting theme. To change those, you just hold the Acura logo. I much prefer this to having to hunt around in the infotainment like you do in so many other cars. And then here we can review those different settings. You can go in and change them from between 3 different comfort, normal, sport settings for each of the powertrain, steering, and suspension damping, and then turn on, off, start, stop. And these are the 3 themes that you're gonna get with the lighting. You don't get the full 27 color ambient lighting set for your individual mode, but you can do the ambient lights elsewhere. So looking up and to the left and right, we see our seat cooling and heating settings. So 3 stages for each. If you want to do it manually, or you just press the auto button and the car will sense whether the cabin is hot or cold and it needs to cool or heat you respectively. Up here are well, these are your climate controls, but I'm just looking at them and they kind of feel like dated aesthetics. This is Acura of the past several years. This could use a refresh. The kind of monocolor, flat looking digital readout for the temperature is not too fun. That could use a refresh. Works functionally, but stylistically needs improvement. So leatherette material up here on the dashboard, with that red contrast stitch, looks and feels high quality. And then over here, this is plastic trim. This is not, I wish they'd continued the aluminum trim. That would have offset this nicely. They do have this aluminum piece up here, but more of a thick band of aluminum there would have looked better. Glove box is pretty wide, but not too deep, as we can see. And then looking at this centerpiece here, we've got our leather wrapped center console with the black contrast stitch. Open that up to find 2 USB ports, not USB-Cs. and one is set up for your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto system, a DC socket, if you have maybe a radar sensor, and then this is a pretty good sized center cubby area for the size of the sedan that it is. In here, we find some rubberized bottom cup holders. I believe these can be removed so you can clean them. Maybe not. Maybe not. And then here is your Acura key. Black gloss on the front with the Acura logo. And then on the back, lock, unlock, and trunk release, and a panic button. Aluminum bottom. That looks and feels quite nice. And you know what? While I'm looking at the cup holders, I'm just wondering if our large bottle, our big bottle, is going to fit. So it's time for a big bottle test in the Acura TLX. That's a no for that cup holder. What about the center cubby? I just said it was big a second ago, but is it big in the right ways? Oh, that's going to be tight. No, it is not going to fit. Door pockets, I also praised those for their size earlier. Will they accommodate? Yeah, kinda, but I feel like that could roll out. Maybe. You know what? It might stay. I'll give it a pass. It gets a pass for that. So, the 2021 Acura TLS, you passed the big bottle test. Nicely done. Moonroof, that is going to be standard with tilt and power slide. Pretty quick at that. Sun visors are on the thinner side, fabric material. Ooh, but they slide. That's very nice. Grab handles are cheaper plastic. And with that, I think it's time to go check out those rear seats. Leaving the seating position in my driving position at 6 feet tall. What do we got legroom wise? So one thing to note about the 2021 TLX, even though the wheelbase is now 3.7 inches longer, the passenger room isn't that much better. And I'm gonna say the reason for that is because they really stretched this dash to axle ratio. It's up like 7 or something inches, which really gives the car rear-wheel drive look. Having that length up there between the front axle and the dashboard gives it the rear-wheel drive proportions, but that means that the actual cabin has not really been increased in terms of your passenger space to any great degree. We do have the same leather and perforation along with that suede insert as the front. Black piping still there on the seats. The door is going to mirror the front in terms of the material. Injection molding, leatherette, leather, hard plastic. ELS studio covers. And then let's come on in. And we can see I've definitely got knee room here. Maybe a couple inches there, 2 to 3 inches with knee cutouts. That helps. This is a leather piece or leather-like piece for your envelope storage back there. This is hard plastic, so it's a good thing I do have legroom. The foot pockets are not that tall, so that my feet feel kind of squished in there. I can't reduce the knee angle that much, so that leaves me wanting. And here's something that I have to point out. Yes, we have air vents, very important. No temperature controls, all right, I can give it a pass. No plugins for your smart devices. That I can't just pass you on. Yes, because of the wireless smartphone charging pad, you probably only need for these front passengers one of those USB ports, but you know, how much would it have cost to route the second of those USB ports back here, or to give it one more? So these rear passengers could even just share one. Come on, that feels like a miss. Looking at the dashboard from back here, handsome sport package design. The seats are very comfortable back here. What's my headroom looking like? All right, so my head is pretty much on the roof right here. This is me sitting upright. It's not pretty much, it is on the roof. So I would have to slouch a little bit. Fortunately, I can do that with my knee angle, but I don't feel crazy comfortable as a full-size 6 foot tall adult back here. I wish I had just a bit more room in the head and then footwell areas. It's not bad. I just wouldn't want to make a 3+ hour road trip out of this situation. Going around for lunch, not a problem. Hour road trip, yeah, we can make it work. 3+, no thank you. All right, so those are the rear compartment. And that means it's just time to rev this guy up and take him for a drive. All right, let's get this party started. To start, the Acura TLX is going to be offered just with one engine option. It's the one we have here. It's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder shared with the RDX SUV. It makes 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. That is notable because it's 66 more horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque more than the outgoing non-turbo 4-cylinder powered TLX. It's actually even more torque than the outgoing V6 powered TLX. So it's pretty peppy. And it's connected to a 10-speed automatic gearbox, sending power to your choice of either the front wheels or, as optioned here, we have the super handling all-wheel drive system. Now, this transmission I find that is pretty darn good in auto mode, but on this A-Spec, you're getting these paddle shifters up here on the steering wheel, and they really should just be decorative, because if you're going to try to shift your own gears, you might become frustrated because the system is not that quick to respond, and sometimes it'll even upshift before you get to the red line, even in manual mode, which gets pretty frustrating. But that's just a minor setback, because the TLX is really not just about the powertrain and the transmission, it is about the improvements they've made to the platform. So this is an all-new platform for 2021. They built it from the ground up to be really on par with the sports sedans out there in this field right now. So it uses now a front double wishbone suspension, and that's going to improve not just ride quality, but also steering feel. And then it also has, oh yes, I get the light right now. It also has bracing in the car. So we've got front and rear structural bracing, and then we also have strut tower bar bracing, and that improves torsional rigidity by 50% over the outgoing TLX. And at the part where the suspension meets the chassis, it's up 100%, so 100% stiffer there. And all that means that this car really feels very planted through a corner. It changes position readily and gives you stability in the corner. You also have a variable ratio steering rack that basically, if you're on it, if you're in the sport drive mode, it will shorten up that ratio such that it doesn't require as much turn in for the car to actually pivot. But if you're on the highway and you don't want it to constantly making adjustments, it will open up that ratio such that it'll have a little more play in the steering, so you aren't pitter-pattering through those lane markings. But I'm very impressed by what Acura has done to this platform. It's so good. And the brake feel is excellent as well, because they borrowed the braking system out of the NSX supercar. So the initial bite is really very good, and then it's a strong pedal feel throughout the brake pedal. This is just set up to be such a better sports sedan than the outgoing TLX. It really reminds me very much of the TL that I drove some number of years ago and just fell in love. I was like, what happened, Acura? Where did you go? And they're back. They're back. This car is really very fun to drive. I have little niggles here, like the steering feel. I want more out of it. Mid-corner, I'm like getting a dead spot. On center, no dead spot. The turn in is very immediate, but then as you're turning the wheel, I find that there's just not much feedback. So they could tighten that up, and I feel that the engine transmission combo can be refined just a little bit. I talked about the transmission and its foibles with the manual shifting, automatic, no real problems, but this engine takes a little bit for the boost to build, and maybe that's where that Type S that's going to come back after so long a hiatus is going to fill the gap there and really help this compete with vehicles like the BMW M340i and the Audi S4, because that car, the Type S, is going to make 355 horsepower horsepower from a 3-liter turbocharged V6. So if this 4-cylinder isn't enough guts for you, it doesn't really throw you back in the seat. The 0 to 60 time at 6.5 seconds isn't the best in the segment. It's fun, it's peppy, and it's lighter weight than that V6 is going to be. But a playful platform and super handling all-wheel drive system more than make up for any straight line sluggishness. You do have to decide whether you like the soundtrack of this Acura powertrain. It sounds like it's working. I think it sounds really good, personally. As an enthusiast, I think it sounds good, but it doesn't have the quiet refinement of a German powertrain, so that's gonna be up to you to decide whether you like the noise. And if you want to change up the dynamics of the car, we do have these different drive modes on this dynamic mode selector. We've got comfort, normal, and sport as standard on the TLX. This A-Spec also has an individual mode where you can go in and set up the powertrain response, the steering feel, and the damping. So those are all luxury credentials right there. Having the different drive modes, having the powertrain responsiveness, having the feedback as a sports sedan. But what about the other luxury details? Is it quiet in this cabin? Well, you can hear for yourself, but yes, I find it to be very quiet. We've got thicker front windshield glass on this A-Spec model, and it filters out wind noise fairly well. We do have some road noise. I'm on a very smooth road right now, so you can't really hear it, but on a rougher road, you're gonna hear a bit of road noise. But the visibility is excellent in here. With that lowered belt line, we've got taller side glass, and so you can see out of this car really, really well, and that just gives you confidence if you didn't have all of the active safety features, all of those driver aids, but this car does come standard with those. So Acura Watch, I think that's their name for their safety system, comes with adaptive cruise control and lane keeping assist, which work very, very well. I was really impressed. It doesn't ping pong you in the lane, it just keeps you in the lane, even on gradual curves. So that's all good. You've got auto emergency braking, the blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, that's for the A-Spec and above cars. All of those systems are very useful, and all of those elevate this car as a luxury vehicle. The seats are super comfortable, and the cabin has visual appeal. The material quality is very good. I wouldn't say it's necessarily on the level of like a C-Class, but they're getting there. Acura's really getting close. Now that it truly behaves as the performance of a sports sedan and all of the other details are elevated, they're really infringing on these tried and true luxury automaker territories. But is this the best way to spend your money? Well, we have, as to start, the TLX is $38,000 and $38,500, I believe. And that stand is $4,500 more than the base TLX of 2020 and earlier. That's a lot of money, but is it worth it? Do I feel like the R&D dollars that they've spent on this car come through in the driving experience? Very much so. I definitely think that money is worth it. It's well spent, and this, I would rather spend the money and get the car that I'm driving right now than save the money and drive the previous generation TLX, hands down. As tested, this car is $46,750, and even that I think is worth the money because the look of the A-Spec and the standard equipment that I get in this A-Spec car are also superb. But is it the best car in the segment? So, competing with this TLX, we're gonna have the Genesis G70 with its 2.0 liter turbocharged engine, and that makes 255 horsepower, and it gets to 60 in 6.2 seconds. The starting figure on that car is $36,000, so it starts a couple $1,000s cheaper than this, but it makes less power. 0 to 60 is gonna be quicker, and the fuel economy is going to be slightly better at 25 combined mpg. And then if you want to bring in a German, I think the Audi A4 is within spitting distance of this car. $41,000 for the Quattro version of that car. I'm not even going to consider the base one with 186 horsepower, 4-cylinder, and just front-wheel drive. We're talking about the Quattro all-wheel drive version of that car, and that is $41,000. So if you're going to do apples to apples with this car, they're about the same price. $40,000 and some change versus $41,000 for all-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive. But that car, the Audi, makes 248 horsepower. It does get to 60 quicker than this at 5.8 seconds, and its fuel economy is better at 27 combined. So you've got some real competitors there, but I think the Acura TLX brings it. I think this car has moved up the ladder significantly to the point that I would genuinely consider it relative to those cars there. Is it better than a 3 Series? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. I think they've got a little bit work to do in the refinement of the powertrain and the transmission. That would put it up there with the 3 Series. But I do think that I'm very excited about that Type S that's coming back with the 3-liter turbocharged V6 that's going to make 355 horsepower. That's going to be one to look out for as a rival to the Audi S4 and the BMW M340i. So Acura, it's a big thumbs up for me on your precision crafted performance TLX. So that's a win. And thank you so much for watching this review, and I will see you guys next time. Till then, I'm gonna have some fun.